And this is where the problem lies. A lot of people attach things that men don't typically do to masculinity. And that's really, I'm being honest with you, that's really not the case. All right, fellas. So listen, I want to have a serious conversation with you guys about what masculinity actually is. Because in the conversations that I have when I speak to men and women about masculinity, it gets twisted. Now, I fully understand why it gets twisted, and I myself have been has been guilty of twisting what masculinity actually is, right? Because I got my own belief system, I have my own ideology, and sometimes some of the things that fall into the category or the conversation when masculinity is being discussed, for me personally, they don't fit into the realm of my thought process or my idea of what masculinity is. But if I'm truly being honest and I'm truly being a masculine man, I have to set aside my personal beliefs and my personal ideas in order to just keep it 100 across the board, and keep my personal feelings out of it. Even if what masculinity is or the things that fall into it aren't in alignment with what I believe, right? So, first of all, when it comes to masculinity, right, we have to understand that masculinity is a concept. It's a concept. It's a societal concept when you hear people talk about masculinity and femininity, right? The things that men typically do would fall into what's known as, masculinity. And then the things that women typically do will fall into femininity. But another thing that we must remember about masculinity and femininity, it's not necessarily about what you would typically do, but it's about the mindset. It's about mindset. That's really what it's about, okay? Not necessarily about what you would do, but it's more so about mindset. And this is where I have an issue when it comes to masculinity. Now, the third thing when it comes to masculinity, right? The first was concept, the second is mindset, and then third is subjective, right? Masculinity is subjective, meaning that it's going to be different for everyone. What I consider masculine might not be what you consider masculine, and vice versa. It switches around. So this is problematic as well, because you have a lot of men going back and forth, and you have a lot of women as well going back and forth about what is and is not masculine. But again, it's subjective. So I can't go around and necessarily call a man masculine or non-masculine or whatever, simply because what he would or wouldn't do is different than what I would or wouldn't do, or what he considers masculine, I don't consider masculine. It's all subjective, guys. It's just like looks, right? Beauty. It's subjective. What I might consider beautiful, or a woman that I might consider beautiful, might not necessarily be a woman that you consider beautiful. Now, I do believe that there are certain things that are just baseline when it comes to masculinity and femininity. But then once you get away from the actual foundation, like the base of it, and you get from the root of it, and then you start branching out to all the different branches and this and that, it's all going to be subjective. And this is one of the things that you have to be able to fully understand. So not everything that you consider as not being masculine, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not masculine. You have to look at the man and look at the man's, or try to figure out the man's mindset, and not necessarily look at what the man is doing, right? And this is where the issue with masculinity, right, and also femininity, but we're talking about men and masculinity. This is where the issue with masculinity comes in, right? I look at a lot of things and I can attach things that people do, that men do, or that women do. I attach them to whether or not that person is masculine, right? When it comes to masculine, I'm talking about men. I'll look at something that a man does, and then I will say that that's not masculine. But masculinity is a mindset. So if you look at what a man is doing, but don't know the man's mindset, can you consider the man either masculine or not masculine without knowing the man's mindset, right? So let me give you let me give you an example, right? When I was this was years ago, right? When I was still in New York, I used to drive the truck for the post office, right? I'm delivering packages, and there was a guy out there. He was actually learning how to ride a motorcycle. He was on his cell phone. He had his his earpiece in or whatever, and he's learning how to ride a motorcycle. And somebody's actually teaching him how to ride a motorcycle over the phone. Long story short, I bumped into him, had a conversation with him. I came back after work because I happened to have rode my bike to work that day. Came back when I got off work and walked him through the process. You know what I'm saying? Showed him how to ride. I'm on my bike, he on his. I'm showing him the concept. Boom. We start riding. We become friends. Now, we started hanging out and everything. We became cool. And I noticed that he wore 2 earrings. He had an earring in each ear. Now, he's a little bit younger than I was, right? He's in the he's in a generation like right after me. And I looked at him like suspect. You know what I'm saying? Because he had an earring in each ear. Now, my generation, we don't do that. You had 1 earring in your left ear. That's what men did. 1 earring in the left ear. We wasn't rocking 2 earrings and all of this kind of stuff, right? But this is what this guy did. He had 2 earrings. Now, as soon as I saw the 2 earrings, I was just like, yeah, nah, something ain't right here. You know what I mean? But just me getting to know the dude, ain't nothing seemed funny about him or anything like that. But the 2 earrings, it just threw me off. So, I was still cool with him or whatever. But I always just kind of kept my eye, like, I don't understand why dudes is wearing 2 earrings. Like, that's not masculine, right? To this day, my ear is still pierced. 1 ear on the left side, but now it's very common. Like after I saw his, he had an earring in each ear. I started just noticing that, for the younger guys or the guys that were, pretty much the generation after me, it was kind of normal to just have an earring in each ear. I always looked at it as, suspect. I'll be honest with you. I've always looked at it as suspect back then. But now, over time, it's like kind of normal. I would never do the 2 earrings, an earring in each. I would never do that, But again, it's based on my mindset, my ideology, and what I think is masculine and not masculine. Now, does that mean that because a man has an earring in each ear, that he's any less masculine? You understand what I'm saying? Does that mean that you can punk him because he got an earring in each ear? Does that mean you can talk to him any type of way because he got an earring in each ear? Y'all get what I'm getting at? You can't necessarily look at certain things to determine whether or not a man is masculine or not. But we do it. We do it. Is it right? Now, just because you wouldn't do something and then somebody else does it, I don't think that it makes them any less masculine. If you do it and you believe that it's not masculine and you wouldn't do it, then that's on you. But for you to be able to say, or for you to have the idea that you can say that somebody is less masculine simply because they do something that you wouldn't do, I'm gonna be honest with you, man, it doesn't mean that they're less masculine. Now look, this is a difficult concept, right? Because you could go many different ways with this, right? We can go many different ways with this. I think I had a conversation one time where we were talking about men getting their nails painted, right? There's a line that you got to draw somewhere. Some guys will say, yo, there's nothing wrong with getting a pedicure, manicure, and a pedicure. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've gotten a manicure and a pedicure. It just did not feel right. I'm gonna be honest with you. It didn't feel right, and I wasn't by myself. I was with my old lady. We were on vacation, and I got it done. Did it feel funny to me? Absolutely, 100%. I didn't like it. I'm just like, yeah, nah, this is, and she's like taking a picture of me. I'm like, yo, don't post that. Like, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? It made me feel some type of way. But did it make me less of a man when it comes to my mindset? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Did it make me feel like, yo, I'm gonna let somebody talk to me any kind of way because I done went and got a manicure? So if somebody try to punk me, I'm gonna just let them punk me because I got a manicure. Nah. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Did it affect my ability to lead in a relationship? Did I say, or did I feel like, oh man, I'm less of a man now, so I'm gonna just let this woman walk all over me because I went and I got a manicure? Y'all get what I'm saying? So you have to understand when it comes to masculinity, like I said, it's a concept. Masculinity is all about mindset, and it is also subjective. Now, a lot of y'all guys might be like, yo, I'm unsubscribing. This man that went and got a manicure and a pedicure. He went out with his old lady. His old lady then turned him into her old lady. You know what I'm saying? Now he's the old lady. Some of y'all might say that, and that's fine. That's fine. How you feel about the situation, that's on you. It really doesn't matter to me. But I want to get you guys to really understand that masculinity is all about a mindset. Now, don't get me wrong. I got an issue with it. You know what I'm saying? But see, one thing about me is that I don't really get into the name calling when it comes to dealing with men. I don't look at men, oh, you are this if you do that. You are that if you do this and blah, blah, blah. I don't get into that, man. I speak on me. And what I speak on is the things that when I say that you guys might not be, operating at your full potential is when it is that you want to do something and you don't do what it is that you want to do. I don't judge anybody by living a lifestyle that they want to live as long as that's the lifestyle that you want to live. I don't judge anybody's relationship as long as that's what you want for your relationship. The only time I step in and I really speak on it is if you're in a relationship or you're in a situation that is not becoming of what it is that you want. If you're dealing with a woman and that woman is treating you not the way that you want to be treated. If you're in a relationship and you're not getting out of that relationship what it is that you want. Now, what it is that you want is totally up to you. I'm not going to look at you and say, well, you're a this and you're a that and blah, 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 because you're doing something that I wouldn't do. Nah, everybody got to live their life. You live your life how you see fit. And if you're living your life in a way that I wouldn't live my life, it doesn't make you any less of a man. It may make you a different man. It may make you a man with a different mindset. It may make you a man that doesn't necessarily do what I want you to do, or not what I want you to do, but what I would do. But it doesn't make you any less of a man. It just makes you. You understand what I'm saying? And you got to understand, there's a lot of men out here who are going to judge, right? Who are going to judge you and belittle you, call you names or whatever like that, simply because you would do something that they wouldn't do. And this is the problem, guys, that a lot of that I see a lot with just men. All right. Oh, now let me be clear. There are some things that are considered that there are some things that they say that men can do that is not tied to masculinity at all. There's some things that men can do, some preferences that men have that is not tied to their masculinity. So men can have this type of preference but still be considered masculine. Now, I don't agree with that at all. But I get it. I fully get it, where sometimes a preference is really not tied to your masculinity. I understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it though, but I understand it, right? So, guys, this is just one of the things that you have to fully understand, and you got to understand that don't not live the life that you want to live because you're concerned about whether or not somebody else is going to think that it's not masculine if you do this, or it's not masculine if you do that, or if you don't do that, or whatever. Masculinity is, for the most part, again, it's a concept, it's about mindset, and it is subjective. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Again, I got issues with it because there are a lot of things that I see people doing that I don't think is necessarily masculine, but again, it's subjective, right? I'm not the guy that's going to get out there and call people out their name because they're doing something that I don't think is masculine, right? It's subjective, guys. So understand that, and don't worry about what anybody thinks about what it is that you're doing. You do what you have to do, guys. You live your life how you see fit. And whoever has an issue with how you live your life, forget about it. Don't worry about them. It doesn't matter, okay? Your masculinity is it's your mindset. And I get it. Some of the things that we do or do not do could be an indication of your mindset, right? But God, don't think everything is not masculinity. Again, guys, is and this is an area that I have a tough time, but I just got to be real with you guys. So masculinity is not always or necessarily tied to what it is that you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Back to the manicure thing. I see guys getting their nails painted. I mean, painted like colors. You know what I'm saying? Like their nails are matching their ladies' nails. I personally do not think that that's masculine. I would never do it. Forget about it. I got a manicure. I didn't get no polish or nothing like that on my nails. They just did them and that was it. Some people are like, oh, well, if you got clear nail polish, that's okay, whatever. Again, that's subjective. That's up to you. I wouldn't do it. Does that mean that a man is not masculine if he gets a pedicure or manicure and then gets polish on his nails? Then they were talking about the gothic, the guys that are into the black nail, painted their nails black because they're like all blacked out, like that gothic stuff. Does that mean that that man is any less masculine, right? Because when I had that conversation, people were like, well, yo, that's the lifestyle that he lives. He's like a gothic, whatever that is, man, when they be all blacked out and black nail polish and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, it was acceptable because that's the lifestyle that he lives. He's still a man with painted nails. So if a man, so is it because it's the color black, it's accepted? Is it, nail polish accepted if y'all get what I'm trying to say? You have to be able to separate certain things from what's considered masculine versus what might be considered something that men don't typically do. And this is where the problem lies. A lot of people attach things that men don't typically do to masculinity. And that's really, I'm being honest with you, that's really not the case. Masculinity is a mindset. Just because a man does something that traditionally men didn't necessarily do, it doesn't make him less masculine. You got to dig into the mindset behind the action. Masculinity is a mindset. It's not necessarily an action. Not necessarily. It's a fine line between certain things, guys, and you just have to understand that, all right? I just wanted to get that off my chest, guys. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good. Let me know in the comment section, man, what y'all think about it. Just let me know in the comment section what you think about it. Is masculinity tied to the things that you do? Is masculinity subjective or is it objective? Is it across the board? This is what it is, and there's no veering to the left and veering to the right. Y'all let me know. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good. It's hot in here. I ain't got no AC.